You don't want to stifle what God is doing. We always talk about eyes have not seen and ears have not heard, neither have it entered into the hearts of man the things that God has prepared for those that love him. I didn't get up this morning, Mr. Charlie, looking for a movement like this. This is Father's Day. What if this is the day where the real Father wants to touch the heart of man? That man start giving just like he gave. For God, our Father, so loved the worldly that he gave his only begotten Son, that so whoever shall believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Oh, he's setting us up. He's setting us up. You know what the sermon title is today? He said, I ain't asking for much. The sermon title today is, tell him, Karl, I ain't asking for much. I ain't asking for much. I ain't asking for much. He says, I ain't asking for much. Little becomes much when you put it in the hand of the Father. Oh, there's a move that's going on. If I'm you, I wouldn't sit in my seat when I look around and I see God doing something. You might not understand it. As much as you borrow money from somebody, this might be the time to say, can I borrow $1? Can I borrow $0.25? I don't want to miss this moment because the Father is moving. Something is going on, y'all. This is not typical church. Woo! What we are witnessing today, we're witnessing God coming down from heaven and touching earth. Anytime God touches earth, the earth will never be the same. God give them a touch. God just give them a touch. God just give them a touch. Touch their minds, touch their hearts, touch their wills, touch their call, touch their purpose, touch their kids. God do it right now for his Father's Day. This is your day. What kind of God would he be if we celebrate ours and we don't celebrate him? Oh, God says what you don't see, what I'm really doing, I'm raining down money. I'm raining down money. I'm raining down money. I am telling you, you can't see it. I'm giving away checks on behalf of Paul Pittman. His character was worth the legacy. I'm honoring Charlie English Jr. because God is doing something. Oh! Woo! It's coming in. It's coming in. It's coming in. Path Home Care just donated $200 toward a scholarship. God is doing something, y'all. He's doing something. Can you put my scripture up? I know we got to go, but look at it. God speaks through sermon titles. He is so big, we can't hold a whole conversation with God. So he got to break it down to us, Mr. Charlie, in fragments. He's a big Father, and he spoon feeds us. He says, Karl, I want you to go and tell them, in this season, I ain't asking for much. And he says, if you need a sermon or a text to go with, I want you to go to Matthew. I want you to go to Matthew. Listen to what he says. Then Jesus went with them. Oh, that's something to shout about right there. That, you know what? As bad as I've been, he's still willing to go with me. As bad as I've been, he's still willing to go with me. I ain't done everything that he asked me to do. In fact, I ain't even been to his house in months. I ain't been to his house in years. But he still went with them to the Mount Olive called Gethsemane. Gethsemane is really the place where Jesus would steal off by himself and he would go and pray and talk to his Father. I just said something. Every now and then you need a Gethsemane. You need a place where in Lolita you can go to and get away from everybody just to go and talk to your Father. Gethsemane is really called the place of press. It is the place of pressure. It is the place where God puts you in a device and he starts squeezing you. He starts molding you. He starts making things real tight. If you're having things tight in your life right now, you just might be in a place called Gethsemane, the place of press. It's the place of hardship. He said, don't even worry about that because you won't be there long. And he said, sit here. Sit here while I go over there. Listen to what God is saying. He's saying, I ain't asking for much, Tanya. He says, I got you in a device. I got you in a tight spot. I know it's been rough, but you are in the place of press. Anytime you start pressing an olive is where the oil flows. It is the anointing. God says, I'm really working on your anointing. But in this season, I ain't really asking for a whole lot. But in the meantime, sit here while I go over there. Listen to what he's saying. I came with you. I walked in with you. But there is going to be a time where I tell you to sit here. Don't move. Stay in the church I tell you to stay at. Don't leave your job. Don't leave your relationship. Don't give up on your kids. I want you to sit right here. Once you sit there, he says, I'm going to leave you for a second. I'm going over there. So if you feel like God has left you, he ain't left you. He over there. If you're wondering what he doing over there, Larry, he talking to his Father. He talking to his Father. He says, but I need you to sit right here. You don't choose what church you live in. You don't choose what house. You don't choose what job. I want you to sit. Stay right there. I know it is uncomfortable, but I sent a young girl back here about 2 months ago to tell you, learn to sit in the uncomfortable, because it is in the uncomfortable that I'm doing something. He says, I ain't asking for much. I ain't asking for much. Then he tells them, y'all sit right here, but I need you to do 2 things. He tells the disciples, he tells them, then Jesus went with them to the olive. He says, sit right here while I go over there to pray. He took Peter and Zebedee, 2 sons, James and John, and became anguish. Notice what he did. He takes the 11 disciples to the Mount Olive. He goes with them, Tanya. When they get there, he tells 3 of them, come with me. Y'all missed it. He calls all 11 of them. But then once they sit there, he calls 3 of them and says, you come with me. You come with me. You come with me. Which implies in this next season, everybody can't go. There are some of us who are going to be able to go further in ministry. He tells the 11, come with me, I'm going with you. Well, Pastor Karl, I thought it was 12 disciples. Well, if you know the story, one of them has just left dinner with Jesus and is across town getting paid to sell him out. So one is over in Saratoga while the rest of them are here. And he says, come with me. Lolita, come with me. Tanya, come with me. Bain, come with me. Lee, come with me. He starts naming us saying, come with me, which means that everybody is not going to go further. But then when he gets you there, he gives you 2 directives. Sit here, meaning stay. Plant your butt. Old folks would say, sit your tail down. I'm tired of you all over the place. You at this church one Sunday. You online another Sunday. Some Sundays you're sitting at home because your flesh is dictating you. Until you learn to sit here. Old folks will sometimes grab you and they'll pull you down right in front of everything. What if God got to pull you down? Well, you don't want God to pull you down. Oh, you mannish, huh? Oh, you sassy, huh? That's what old folk would call it. So he says, sit here. He calls them three and says, I want you to pray with me. He gives them two things. He says, I want you to pray and I want you to keep watch. He tells the three, in this season, all I want you to do is pray and keep watch. He gives them their assignment, Mr. Charlie, walks over to the other side, starts interceding for himself. Nowhere in the Bible have you ever seen Jesus asking the disciples to pray for him. But you have seen in the text where everybody coming to Jesus asking Jesus to pray for me, to heal my mama, to raise the dead, to restore sight to the blind. Everybody is coming to him with requests. But in the time that he needed most, he said, all I need to switch the assignment. Instead of me praying for you, I need you to pray for me. So God gave me 4 things. He says, Karl, in this season, I ain't asking for much. He says, Karl, I want you to go and tell Mount Suffolk. The first thing I want them to do is just follow simple instructions. Look at your neighbor and just tell him he ain't asking for much. Just follow simple instructions. The man just wants you to follow simple instructions. All he did with the disciples, he gave them simple instructions. Pray and watch. Pray and watch. Simple instructions. He says, Karl, just tell them after today, I am going to step to them. I'm going to pull them into a place and I'm going to give them simple instructions. All I want them to do is pray and watch. Anytime God tells you to want to pray and watch, in other words, he's saying pay attention because you might miss something. So he goes over, starts talking to his father, saying, Father, look, where I'm about to go, no man has ever went before. What God is getting ready to do, Mr. Charlie, is to take you and your family places that you've never been before. And where he's taking you, it's going to cause stress. It's going to cause pressure. It's going to cause anxiety. But don't worry about that. The psalmist reminded us, it's going to be all right. Oh, it's going to be all right. That's a good cue right there to hit your neighbor and tell them don't worry about what he asked you to do. Don't worry about what he asked you to give. It's going to be all right. 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 Just follow simple instructions. That's the first thing that he told me to do. Watch and pray. He says the problem is there's a whole lot of people praying, but they ain't watching me. And then you got a lot of people that's watching, but they ain't praying. There's a whole lot of people, Miss Pittman, that are praying to God, but they ain't watching for the results. And then there's a whole lot of people that's watching and waiting on God, but they ain't praying. So he says, follow simple instructions. Then he comes back. And finds all 3 of them asleep. I know I gave them simple instructions. I know I was clear. So he wakes up one of them, Peter. You couldn't watch and pray with me? You couldn't do what I asked you to do? I ain't asking for much. with all that I have done for you, Peter, with all that I have done for you, Karl, with all that I have done for you, Calvin, with all that I've done through you, Justin, I'm not asking for much. You can't do it for 1 hour. You can't fast for 3 days. You can't go and exercise. I live in this temple that you got me in. And right now you feeding me anything. And you making me unhealthy. And then you asking, saying, I need to lose this weight, or you got all these health challenges. He says, I'm not asking for much. You can't give it up for a day. Peter, you can't stay pray with me for an hour. Yeah, God, I want to, okay, I'll do it. I'm going to give you another chance. Pray and watch. The reason why Jesus wanted Peter and them to pray and watch, because Jesus had information or insight about what was about to happen. He says, I want you to pray and watch because I'm Jehovah Jireh. I know what's coming down the pipe. I know that there is somebody outside on another town, in another neighborhood, that's trying to plot against you. And all I want you to do is pray and watch. Jesus knew that one of his disciples, Judas, was already across town trying to get paid. And most of us sell Jesus out for money. God, I can't come to church. I'll pay my tithe another way. We work 40, 60, 80 hours chasing a dollar and not chasing destiny. And he says, you're wondering why you don't have it. Because I'm a jealous God. And anytime you are going after something more than me, I got a problem with it. So he tells them to pray because he knows that the enemy is coming. What Peter and the three were supposed to do, they were supposed to stood up on ground and start watching what Jesus was doing. If he's praying to his Father, hey guys, we need to be praying to the Father. In fact, whatever he is saying to God, we need to be listening and saying the same thing. Father, not my will, but thine will be done. Father, not my will, but thine will be done. Father, if this cup can pass me, let thy will be done. If this cup can pass us, let thy will be done. Father, if this cup can pass me, if this moment of suffering and hardship can escape me, can you find another way to do it? But if you can't, let thy will be done. That's what we were supposed to be doing. They were supposed to be not only praying, but they were supposed to be watching. You watch this side. You watch that side. You watch that side. If you can't have people in your circle that will pray with you and be with you in a time of your need, LaRue, it's time to change your circle. You need people who will not only pray for you, you need people who will pray with you. Jesus said, all I want you to do is pray with me. Say the same thing I'm saying. Do the same thing that I'm doing. If I'm talking to the Father, talk to the Father. Stop talking to your co-worker. It's right here. He says, it's simple instructions. He says the reason why I want you to do it is because, number two, it has spiritual implications to it. If you want to know why I want you to pray, Larry, you ain't got to be the best prayer. I just want you to be sincere. I love the fact that for our prayer consecration in 2 weeks, we step to the men's department. And you rarely see men pray. If you think I'm lying, look at intercessors. You're going to always find a majority of women talking to God. But on this particular day, I told my wife, no, call the men. Get the men to pray. That's part of their development as a father. What kind of father would you be if you don't know how to intercede and call on your king in front of your children? So the men start praying, Terry. I looked at the screen. Some of them can barely talk. Some of them had stuttering problems. Some of them didn't even sound in a rhythm. And God said, boy, look at them, boy. He said, it ain't about rhythm, no way. It's about sincerity of the heart. He says, these men are praying for buildings. These men are praying for souls. It ain't about a whole bunch of babbling. He says, it's about men talking to their father. He says, there's a spiritual implication about it. He says, when you pray, believe. And what I've discovered that if you wanted to make Jesus upset, let him come back and find you doing something he ain't ever tell you to do. He came back a second time and found them doing something that I never told them to do. Oh, I just said something. If you want to make God upset with you, start doing something that he never authorized you to do. He says, I get upset at that. He says, Peter, I never authorized you to sleep. I authorized you to serve. I just said something right there, y'all. God ain't never authorized us to fall asleep. He says, I authorize you to serve. You're supposed to be serving your community, serving your family, serving your church, serving your father. You're supposed to be a servant. There is spiritual implications behind that. Calling all men. God says, I'm releasing a servant anointing on you. How can you watch everybody else working and you sit on the sideline with your hands crossed, making excuses? If you're sick, do it sick anyway. I'll heal you as you go. He says, I'll do something supernatural that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. He says, I'm not asking for much. He says, you asked me for everything. I gave you the house. I gave you the car. I gave you the job. I gave you the promotion. I gave you the fame. I gave you the position. I gave you the family. I gave you everything. What I'm asking for, I ain't asking for too much. I'm asking if you would do what it is that I asked you to do. Don't let me come back and find you not doing what I told you to do. Regardless if the other person is doing or not, you do what I told you to do. He called Peter. He said, Peter, you didn't pray. Karl, you didn't pray. Kelvin, you didn't pray. Payne, you didn't do it. He says, in fact, I told you 3 times to call your mama, but you so stuck in your feelings that no, I ain't talking to her. He says, I told you to call your father. Yeah, but he ain't been no father to me. He ain't never done nothing to me. Yeah, but don't worry about what he done. What have I done? He said, I'll be your father. I'll be your comforter. I'll be your protector. Didn't I protect you? Didn't I keep you? Stop worrying about all of that. I am the father to the fatherless. He said, let's do what I asked you to do. I'm not asking for much. He says it has spiritual implication. What's crazy is that a couple of weeks ago, I see Norcom's choir was supposed to come here for our pastor's anniversary. We made a call at the last minute and said we're not going to be able to do it. Well, that brought disappointment to the choir director as well as the students. I heard God say, I want you to do something for them kids because you're going after the next generation and I need them to keep their faith. He says, I want you to go and get gift cards and give them to the kids. So I went and got the gift cards. Follow simple instructions. Then he tells me, go to Walmart and buy them some chips. I fell up in the classroom. Nobody greeted me, but I understood what was going on. They were disappointment. Anytime disappointment set in, it affects your praise. And God says the reason why a lot of people don't praise me like they should Because somewhere down in the corridors of their soul, there's a spirit of disappointment that's prohibiting them. So therefore, I got to do something. He says, Karl, take them snacks and Chick-fil-A gift cards. I walked in the room, Larry. I felt the chill in there. I said, hey, y'all. I said, I want to make an apology. I know y'all were supposed to come. I said, but time wasn't working with us. I said, but look, I want to make sure, I want to make things right. I said, I got Chick-fil-A cards for everybody. Oh, the room bursted into praise. I said, not only do I got gift cards, I got chips and dips and Doritos and all of that stuff that you like. Oh, they was floored with it. Just when I thought it was over, Coach Payne, he says, I want you to go back tomorrow, and I want you to give him a double dose. I fell up in there again the next day and gave him some more. And God says, can't you see what I'm doing, sir? This is the year of overflow. He says, I'm not going to ask you to do it one time. I'm going to ask you to do it over and over. I'm going to do it over and over. I'm going to do it over and over. He says, I want you to understand, when you tell somebody you're going to do something, when you tell somebody you're going to do something, he says, do it. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, he says, do it. He says, you got to be a keeper of your word. I'm a keeper of mine. He says, you are my ambassadors. If you tell somebody you're going to pray, pray. If you tell the bill collector you're going to pay him Friday, pay him Friday. If you tell the landlord you're going to pay him Wednesday, pay him Wednesday. In other words, God's saying, you are my children. I am your father. If you tell somebody something, do something. He says, I'm a keeper of my word. You should be a keeper of yours. This is what he told me. He says, Karl, one thing about you. He says, you're going to keep a good name out here. Let me go back. There was a time when I was stressed about keeping a good name out here, but I had a bad name back there. He says, yeah, out front, you look good, but in the back, if they were to call the bill collector, why is the bill collector running down behind you? What good is it to wear Chanel out here and Fendi out here and red bottoms out here, and you got a bad name back there? God says, no, that ain't my child. Oh, no, that ain't my child. He said it has spiritual inflammation. Here's the third thing. He said, I ain't asking for much. All I'm asking for is you to follow simple instructions. What I'm asking you is for spiritual implication. Here's the other one. He said, I'm just asking you to start supervising your influence. It's right here. He steps to Peter and tells Peter, he says, you know the reason why they sleep? Because they see you sleep. You the leader. I told all three of y'all to pray. But Peter, you the leader. And if they see the leader sleep, that means they gonna sleep. In other words, God is saying, y'all don't understand that I have released a spiritual influence on your life? That there are people who are watching you, Mr. Charlie. And if you don't go to church, they're not going to church. If you don't pray, they're not going to pray. If you don't give, they're not going to give. He said, I'm not asking for much. I just want each and every last one of y'all to start supervising your influence. Be the supervisor of your own life. Be the dictator of your own life. Stop supervising everybody else and supervise your own life. He tells Peter, if you had not went to sleep, they wouldn't have went to sleep. If you had came to church, they would have came to church. If you had served, they would have served. If you had gave, they would have gave. If you had came, they would have came. Start doing what you say you're going to do. He says you got to supervise your influence. Here's the last thing. Here's the last thing. This is what I love about it, Chanel. I love when God take an ancient text, something that was written 2,000 years ago, but then he brings it into the year 2025, which means we are 25 years over the dispensation of when God released this word, which means that the word is still relevant. It's still doing what it's supposed to do. The message have not changed, but the methods has. Oh, I just said something. God's message have not changed, but his method has. He says, Karl, just tell them I'm not asking for too much. Tell them to follow simple instructions. There are spiritual implications behind what it is that I'm asking them to do. Tell them to model, supervise their influence. There is influence that is on your life. People are watching you. People are not listening to you. And then on top of that, he says, I would never ask you to do something without rewarding you. He says, point 4, if you do step 1, 2, and 3, he says you will see the reward for step 4, which is supernatural illustrations. It's right here in the text, y'all. He tells them, he comes back the 3rd time, finds them asleep again. 3 times. Found them asleep, leave 3 times. Gave them a chance. Then the light came on. He says, why am I asking somebody who clearly don't have the capacity to do what I'm asking them to do? He says, I asked them 3 times to do something. The question is, what did God ask you to do that you haven't done yet? This is what's going to happen. When he realized, LaRue, that I've asked her to do this 3 times, and all I've been getting is excuses, what he's going to do, he's going to say, sleep on, which means that I ain't got nothing to do with her. I'm going to find me somebody else. And what you don't want is, in this season, you don't want God to walk away from you because you have not done what it is that he's asking you to do. Because what's about to happen in his life, he's about to go somewhere that no man has ever did. He's about to do something that no man has ever performed. In other words, he's saying, if you do what I asked you to do, Lolita, you're going to see supernatural illustrations. He says, I'm going to take you places that no man has ever been. I'm going to put you in houses that nobody ever lived in. I'm going to give you jobs that nobody has ever worked. He says, I'm going to give you money that I don't know how he going to do it. He says, but you are going to see supernatural illustration. The man was praying because he was about to go to Calvary. He was about to be crucified, nailed to a cross. No man has ever been there. No man has ever done that. No man has ever seen that. He's saying, Tanya, in this season, if you obey me and do what it is I asked you to do, he said, eyes have not seen. I ain't told nobody. I ain't even showed nobody. Ears have not heard. As much as Pastor Karl taught, I have not even told Pastor Karl, because number one, he's a mandatory reporter. He's going to tell everything that it is that he knows. That is why I made him a teacher, because I wanted him to know, as a teacher, there are some things you can give away, but there are some things you got to report. He says, I made him a mandatory reporter. But because he's a mandatory reporter, I won't tell him what I got for you. I won't even reveal to him what I got for you, because it's just between me and you. I ain't asking you for much, but I have given you everything. He said, it's a supernatural illustration. I'm trying to give you stuff that people won't even wonder. I said, God, you know what? I believe that. I'm going to do everything you tell me to do. I said, because what I'm believing for a building. I ain't never seen a building. My mama ain't never bought a building. My dad has never bought a building. My brothers have never bought a building. I said, God, I'm looking for you to do something. He says, who said, Karl, that you have to buy a building? What if I want to touch the heart of the king and tell the king, no, we're going to give them the building? That's a supernatural illustration. You just keep doing what it is that God asked you to do. I don't know how it's going to play out, but you got to understand, he's going to make it all right. He is the great I am. He is the great I am. He is the great I am. Oh, he's walking around heaven now, telling everybody, I'm the great I am. I'm the great I am. I'm the great I am. If he's the great I am, he lives in you. He lives in you. He lives in you. Greater is he that lives in you than he that lives in the world. Let the God of your salvation see you strong and mighty. Whatever you're going through, hold your head up. Tuck your shoulders back. Put your feet in the ground and say he gonna make a way. He ain't asking for much. He says, lift up your voice, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory, He shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord of hosts, the Lord mighty in battle. He is the King. I dare you to get on your feet and shout to the world, I am that I am. He is the I am. He is the I am. Whoa, what a marvelous God. Whoa. Yay. Oh, it's time to roar. It's time to leave these walls and go out into the world and make a public declaration. The King is here. The King is here. The King is here. Woo! Yeah. He's raising up an army. Sit here while I go over there. Don't let me come back and find you not doing what I asked you to do. I'll do to you what I did to Peter. I realize I'm asking them to do something that they don't have the capabilities of doing. If what you're asking people to do and you have not gotten a response, could it be that you're asking them too much? Go to your father and talk to your father about them. Because his thing is this: why are you expecting them to do what you ask them to do? Spend time with you, take you places, love on you, make you feel special. You want them to do that for you, but you haven't done it for me. You ain't spent no time with me, and then you don't feel bad about it. He says, I'm not looking for perfect people. I'm looking for honest people. God, you're right. I ain't been spending no time for you. Now, God, I realize why my life is in such shambles. Because you have me in a pressing place. There's a difference, Tanya, from a pressing place and a depressing place. Your prayer should be, God, I ain't asking for much. Can you take me out of the place of depression and put me in a pressing place? Because it's in the pressing place, it's where the oil releases. I'm out of time, y'all. On Father's Day, he cannot leave heaven, y'all. He used mortal men who are not perfect, but men who are willing to do what he say do. Karl, go and tell them, I ain't asking for much.